It's time to focus on the things you need, the things you deserve. You deserve a healthy body. Supplements that get you moving and keep you moving. That make you feel good, look good, do good. And they shouldn't contain GMOs, artificial ingredients, or heavy metals, ever. Supplements that are clinically studied, use proven absorption technologies, are designed by scientists, and are ethically sourced and produced. Supplements with everything you need, nothing you don't. You deserve a company that you can trust, that's dedicated to safe manufacturing practices and third-party testing, that ensures the highest quality of effectiveness from extraction of ingredients all the way to the composition of the packaging. Wait a second. You deserve to see the process. Company led by a CEO with a deep belief in the power of people, dedicated to inspiring entrepreneurs to achieve success. A company with a phytonutrient chemist and expert on natural molecules who is obsessed with human health and has your best interest in mind to design its products. A board comprised of talented doctors from around the world. You deserve to be surrounded by people you trust and look up to. Empowered ambassadors that inspire wellness every day. Leaders who are rooting for you to be the best version of yourself. A community that works hard and plays hard. You deserve to experience adventures that take you around the world, and you deserve to be recognized for your hard work. It's time to get what you deserve. It's time to shift your focus. 3.
Welcome to another beautiful Wellness Wednesday, my friends. We are so thrilled to have you on with us tonight, and we have an incredible guest speaker as always, but I am very excited about her story and what she's going to share in her experience with 3 so far. So make sure that if you have friends that you invited on tonight, send them a quick text reminder so that they don't miss out, because we are going to be diving in and sharing more about the world of 3. As always, my friends, 3 is an incredible proactive wellness company that specializes in absorption delivery technologies. We have 6 ingestible products plus an incredible Visage skincare system. It's a neurocosmetic, and our health professional tonight, wow, she's had some incredible results, and we have 3 beautiful testimonials that are also going to be on, because I'm all about real people, real results. I want to make sure that if you see value in what's shared with you tonight, that you know that, just based on experience and hearing other people's experiences, that you know that they're going to work for you too. So it's going to be exciting, my friends. So stay tuned. Make sure you send a quick reminder text, and we are going to get started. So I am about to introduce you to the most amazing and interesting woman. She truly is incredible. Her name is Dr. Natanya Wachtel, and she is a pioneering voice at the intersection of integrative medicine, behavioral science, and yes, cellular wellness. So as a founding member of 3 International and founder of the New Solutions Network, she bridges cutting-edge science and soulful healing to redefine how we nourish our mind and our body. If you're not intrigued yet, I mean, seriously, right? So her journey began in the corporate world of healthcare strategy, but a series of traumatic health crises, including paralysis and, yes, a near-death experience, radically altered her path. Reclaiming her health demanded a new approach, something different and unique, one that wove together science, intuition, and resilience. So Dr. Wachtel's approach is deeply informed by clinical research and trauma-informed neuroscience. So she believes that true healing starts at the cellular level by restoring the body's natural capacity to repair, adapt, and thrive. This is our belief too in the world of 3. We're very aligned, right? That's why she's an incredible founding member for us. This belief fuels her work with 3 International, of course, and who's clinically backed, right? Bioavailable products empower individuals to take charge of their own biology. So whether addressing inflammation, stress, fatigue, or emotional stagnation, her message is clear that transformation happens when we stop masking symptoms and we start supporting the body's deepest intelligence. So now, having turned 50, which you're not going to believe it when you see her, but she is 50, and Dr. Wachtel's wellness rituals, including using 3's plant-based skincare with her twin daughters, supporting their acne-prone skin, while nourishing her own through hormonal shifts, products. Very important. So for her, these products aren't just topical, they're a tangible expression of generational healing. And her work through both the Natanya experience and three is a commitment to redefining what wellness means and can mean, right? Both scientifically and inclusive and rooted in lived truth. She is truly a just a walking miracle. And so I am so excited to have her on. Please help me welcome my friend, Dr. Natanya Wachtel. Thanks for being on with us tonight. It's such a pleasure. I truly feel honored to have you here. And honestly, I'm just excited to dive in. What an intro. I mean, like I got the chills when I was reading through that. You've had so much that's gone on in your life, but I really want to know, like, tell us more, like, where were you before three, Dr. Natanya?
Sure, sure. So in the traumatic state, because let's start with the juicy bits, right? I was a lot of wonderful things were going on, and then some not so wonderful things. And so when the not so wonderful things were going on, I was basically just surviving in a body that felt like a betrayal. I had been an athlete. I did have a lot of injuries, and some big injury, which led to a paralysis with a surgery where I had a few different options and a few different spine surgeons. Um, Giving me my prognosis, and none of them were very good. Before that, I had a pretty big career in advertising some of the world's top health and wellness companies, Fortune 500, the pharma giants, right? Big names that people associate with solutions and behavioral science. So was basically in the market of transformation, and then I broke. So I knew how to make things sound promising, but behind the curtain at that time, I was actually falling apart at my worst, and it's hard for people to believe. And we did talk about maybe sending out a little video later for some before and after, but I had, I'll say, ballooned up to 298 pounds. I was bedridden for a year and had to relearn to walk again against prognosis that I would ever do so. I was inflamed, exhausted, and kind of disconnected from like my life force, for lack of a better way to say it. So, just trying to walk again was defying expectation. But I was also a mother of five, and running a business with employees. So there was a lot going on. And that's just some of it. And that's just one structure. But yes, I had clinical death as well. And that was even before that. So I was one of those people who might not get the first message or the second message that there needs to be a change. I needed a few knockabouts, for lack of a better way to put it, to kind of feel like something has to change. So I, was functioning and pretending everything was fine, but there was still this part of me. So, I was a professional fixer. And then basically, yeah, I don't know. You could say, depending on your audience, what they're open to, your third eye opened, you awoke, your soul rised, you had your enlightenment period, whatever it was. But I kind of got to the place where I didn't want to walk around carrying all that trauma and grief and shame. And so basically, I was like in a silent war before three. I was on my road to a big recovery, and then basically at a place where things were going really well, but still not optimal. And I feel like that's where three for me personally took me to another level. So just basically there, is my answer for that. I don't know if you want to shift, because I was going to say, I could say how I was introduced, but I think that's your next question. But basically, I didn't want to live on these like half truths where I felt better, but I felt like there was still something more. And yes, I was aging too and getting older. So there's other things. And doctors will say, well, you're a really anxious person. It's this or that, or, these are normal things and hormones at these time of your life. And I didn't believe those things. I felt like I really had reconnected from my health journey, which also included an oncology scare. I had changed my diet to really rely on plants and fungus, and was trying to look for ways to incorporate more volume of those kinds of healing properties from plants and fungus into my daily life. But as we all know, from most of us who probably looked at several kinds of companies and products and supplements to support their healthy living, there's not a lot out there that is, well, there's nothing out there like three, but nothing that past some of the rigor that I was looking for coming from the pharma and biosciences background in terms of the physician's digital reference, the data, the studies, and there really wasn't anything that was really meeting standards that I felt would be worth kind of building that relationship with until three.
Well, and right, and you're a doctor, you've been in pharma, in and out of pharma, you had your own health scare. It's hard to find stuff out there that's clean, that's good. The supplement world is highly underregulated, right? You know that. And so I think when you do find something good and it has the science behind it, you're like, okay, this is different, right? It piques your interest. You get intrigued enough to say, yeah, what's this all about? So tell us, like, what made you say yes to three? How did you get started with three?
If I'm being honest, it wasn't necessarily all with my head. It was kind of more with my nervous system and my gut. And I'm assuming it's okay if I mention Nicole
Of course.
Barone. Oh. So we met at a luxury resort in this like serene environment, and you're already feeling great. And she was there as a guest of a member, and I was there doing some work. And we basically sat down together, and she started talking about the company and the products. And as she was talking, I was like, is this from like, is there a camera? Like, what is going on? Because I was right at the place of considering a relationship with a different kind of company, and I had this niggling feeling like it wasn't right. And everything that Nicole was talking about from the science, her own language, her background in pharma, of course, it was 6 degrees of pharma separation, where we realized, including her husband, that we all worked in the same teams and we all knew all these people together. But it did sort of, she was a dietitian. She knew my world and I understood her world. And I think because of that, we could kind of cut through all that and be like, what is this really about? And it wasn't like I wasn't being at a sales experience. It didn't feel that way. It felt like a discussion about science and our bodies. And basically, you could tell about the way that she spoke, that she believed what she was saying. And that was part of it for me. And I was like, okay, let me try this stuff. And I wasn't really sure what I would do, but I knew I wanted to try it in my body.
Mhm. I mean, Nicole is such a huge advocate for three because she's also had, like you said, very similar background to you in a lot of ways and was always seeking for something that could be better and elevated. And, how can she upgrade people to more perfect products? And three was the answer for her. But I remember her actually calling me to say, I ran into this amazing woman and it turns out we're all like connected. I'm like, okay. And Nicole, she's so excited, right? So I'm like, start from the beginning. Who is this incredible doctor? I need to meet her. So I'm so excited that you're here with us and that you said yes to that. So share with us, like, what excites you most about sharing and promoting three, Natanya?
Well, the products themselves, of course, are very exciting, right? They're extraordinary. And the science, well, and Dr. Dan, of course, can't not mention him. I'm very fortunate that I got to actually spend time and interview him and meet him and really feel and spend time with the content that you guys have created over this, few months of this journey. But for me, it was really like the shift that I started to feel. And maybe this wasn't in my interview notes, but I'm going to just say it. It's some vanity stuff too, because I started getting little compliments like from my hair salon lady who was asking me if I did something, or I went on a trip for work and I'm on camera a bit, right? And they were like, "Oh, these are an extension," and they're like pulling my hair. I'm like, "No, that's my hair." And I did notice like fingernails, hair, skin. I really started to see and feel. The other thing I had told Nicole, because I did not actually start selling right away, I said I wanted to live with this in my body. I did full blood panels on myself and everybody that I gave it to in my family because I'm going to be a little cautious with something new. So I did all that. And everything came up even better than I thought. And I was like, wow, this is the real deal. It really is. Because I kind of was like, this has to be too good to be true. And then that's when I started saying, okay, now I'm going to start to see about who do I care about that I think could benefit. And that's later you'll hear some people that we've brought in to try that were people I work with, people I'm friends with. And it's been a slow build, but because we're doing it really carefully, I am trying to do it sort of almost like a clinical program where we're layering on products one at a time to see how we could really notice what they're doing in the body.
Mhm. It does take, well, yeah, and I love that you did the blood work too, but you're right, it does take some diving in, and if you really want to get clinical with it, then yeah, you would have an approach like that. I would expect nothing less from you with your background as well. But I'm glad that you're seeing the results you're looking for. I'm glad that you see that the products work and that they're of benefit. And that's usually what I say. Sometimes people don't walk away with this like incredible, miraculous story of getting on the products, but what they do tell me is they're like, I feel good though. And I'm like a little happier. I'm like, oh, well, that's a great result, right?
Yeah,
It might
like
be like,
I had said,
oh,
you feel your brain lights up, you feel your skin is just like bouncing back. Even some, again, not clinical claim here, but just to say, I have observed something that could be corollary or causally, that was wound healing. Like as I had the collagen onboarded, because I didn't start with all the products at one time, and I was like, I wonder if this is that. So I'm just noticing, and because I believe it the way Nicole believes it, the way you believe it. And then that's how I'm sharing it with this is what it's doing for me. These are real things I can tell you, not only what the company says. And then what the company says rounds out. And now we have, yes, so many incredible people from around the globe. That was a big part for me as well.
yeah.
Unpaid spokespeople talking about the real difference. And at the end of the day, when you feel a little better, when you show up in the morning, when you wake up and you just feel a little bit better in your body, then everything kind of is a little better, right? So I'm a mental health advocate. That's my big thing. And I believe that, the mind body connection and the gut brain connection is all connected. And I do believe that these products really help give you that foundation for total wellness.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. And people, they laugh at me when I say this. I'm like, my motto is, this is all I care about. My MO basically, I just want people to be happier and healthier. And this is so far the best thing that I found. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm very much a stickler to where it's just like, I know that there's a plethora of products out there. That doesn't mean they're all good for you. And I think when you have somebody like with your background, that comes in, it's just so affirming, to myself and others. And obviously we hear from Dr. Dan all the time and he's amazing. And we know, Dr. Dan, the molecule man, all that. But it is that having that personal experience and it does come like natural to share, I think, where it's not like a forced, like share. You're like, oh my gosh, there are real people having results here. That's important. So, and then you kind of start sharing and you're a part of that process and really nothing feels better than that. But what are your favorite three products? I know this is so hard. I asked this question and people are like, oh, why did she ask me that? But because, I guess I could say what product would you want to be stranded on an island with? But tell me kind of what are your three favorite products?
I think so. Eternal, the purple liquid.
Ouch. Yes.
Or uninitiated, hint, hint for later. That was the first one I tried. It was the first one I tried. I don't even really know why, but I just picked that. And then my husband started getting a little jealous and was like, can I have some of that? Because like I said, I really did it just sort of as an experiment to see. But really it became, it's an antioxidant blend and to me it's a cellular love letter, right? The first time I took it, um, you know, I didn't feel any kind of like caffeine buzz or anything like that, but I did. And again, I was like, is this placebo or it doesn't even matter because there was a subtle but profound feeling of like, a focus or a clarity feeling. I could, some people could argue you don't feel inflammation, but I would say, okay. And to be clear, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm doctorate, but, so I'm behavioral science. But I felt as if I were less inflamed. And it's hard to articulate that. And I know I'm not making a medical claim, but I did like, I even questioned it, but I notice it now. Now I really know what the difference is. I felt like a firing, a sharpening of the brain. I felt that I got some compliments on, your face. Did you have a laser? I did nothing. I did nothing. So, I just said, thank you, thank you. And now I just use it as daily armor, right? And whenever anyone in the family, especially our youngest two, start to say like, I don't feel well, we're like, let's double up on Eternal. And they already know. They're like, they take an extra one for school. Um, I don't know why I started with the liquids, maybe because I was already, it just that's how it went for me. But of course, Vitalite, which basically is another little ritual in a pouch. Oh no, I messed up my order of things, but sorry. So my three things, my three threes, sorry. Now, Vitality and the collagen. But anyway,
Yeah.
the power, because I like the fact that it was one pack, sorry, Vitality in the pouch. So I meant that. I just said it out of order. Sorry. So basically, the adaptogens, the greens, the gut support, it's like I love the fact that it's one pouch. As you said, I'm often on the go. We'll have a testimonial later because that's one of the first things I did give to some of my guinea pigs in our teams that we gave this to because I was like, you know what? It's everything you need in one. at least to get started, right? So I felt like it was sort of like a reset button for your biochemistry. And that's like a foundational thing. And the other thing is, we don't, depending on, and no judgments here. I mean, even Dan admitted the thing about the starburst. We're not always eating maybe as healthy as we would like, even if we, and I do live pretty clean, but I'm human. And, if I'm out somewhere or there's something delicious going on, so, or environmental stress or travel or what have you, I really feel like having something on the go like that is comprehensive. There really isn't anything like that. In fact, only when I worked in the diabetes market did I ever see things kind of packaged where it was multiple things in one, with different mechanisms of action. So I really love that system, and I think it's a great way for anyone, if you've started with nothing, to do that with Vitalite. And then I guess I like purify. I like everything, obviously. So, but there are times, whether they be hormonal or stress related, where you kind of want to clear out, or maybe you've been enjoying yourself too much on vacation, or whatever is your life, right? Or maybe it's emotional. When I feel like the system is holding on to too much, purify is what I reach for. So it feels like it's detoxing the pathways. And again, I don't mean like colon cleanse, running to the bathroom. I just mean, so not in an aggressive way, but in a way that feels like a gentle, like stripping away of the things you don't need. It feels like it's a intelligence, it's targeted. And again, I came from pharma, so I have to be really careful and respectful to say I'm not bashing my old ways, but even as Dan talked about in some of his interviews together, and videos that I've seen, synthetic compounds in the body, or even vitamin supplements that you might get. And again, I don't blaspheme away, I hope, too much on this, but just to say, when you have plant-derived molecules in the body, they're just gentler. And I don't know about you, but I used to react pretty severely, probably because of I had been on so many medications and steroids that my intestines and my internal systems were very sensitive to the harsh, like, pharma products. And I even some of the other, for lack of a better word, competitive type of supplements, I just felt either nauseous or, just didn't feel right. And so that was a big part of even my journey, was just the fact that I could take these and feel great. And without this sort of like 3 week waiting period of like, is my body going to get used to this? As well as the fact that I couldn't believe how quickly my skin, my mind, my body felt. And then, of course, my blood, different and better.
Yeah, it's amazing to me too. Like, I think this is Dr. Dan's superpower. He made this line so simple. It's almost like for you and I who have health backgrounds, we look at it and we're like, is that it? At first. And then you start putting it in your body and your skin starts glowing and you're not feeling nauseous every time you take the vitamin pack. And you're like, what's it? Usually, because I would too. I would take products. I was taking like what I would consider cocktails of vitamins every day, just because I was at my best health. I knew what I was doing, right? And I kind of laughed when I first saw the Vitalite, the multivitamin. I was like, 5 little packets, that's it? Like, is this even going to do anything? So I was just as surprised as you. I was having more natural energy, wasn't going for a second or third cup of coffee in the mid-afternoon, but I really thought that there were stimulants in it, Natanya. I was like searching. I'm like, where's the green tea? I know it's in here
Well,
hidden.
that's why I said that about the caffeine rush, because
Yeah.
I thought I was a mad. That's why I said, and on whether or not, is it placebo? It doesn't really matter, because what you feel is what you feel. And that's what I said to everyone, right? And I said, well, what do you feel? And they said energy. And I remember this from, again, I'm sorry to draw on diabetes market, but, with insulin, and, we're like, well, we can't make a claim about better energy. So it's the same here. And we're not claiming that. We're just remarking that it is a noticeable sensation, and we can't help remarking that it is something that you notice right away, but it doesn't have the same, because the first thing we think of is like a cup of coffee, and it's not that. It's not a jittery aggressive, it's just like a lightning.
Yeah, you just feel better and you feel happier too. And so you having this background, in neuroscience and everything, like how do these products really tie into, or have you seen sort of mindset, behavior change, resilience? Like how would you bring three into that piece of what you
Well,
studied?
for me, that's where this gets real in a big way, right? So for me, health isn't only about what you take into your body, food or medications or supplements. It's also about your practice and your moments and the micro decisions and the rituals maybe that nobody sees, but they also shape who you become. And so for me and the people that I'm bringing onto our teams, we're slowly talking about this not only as like a solution, but as a signaling to yourself, right? So that every action is essentially you're saying to yourself, I'm going to choose to show up for this body, for this day, for this life. And these rituals become anchors and they root you in your intentions and your movements and they build and then you have momentum. And that's the way, at least from, again, my health journey, that, or, you could read Atomic Habits, another book like that about small, intentional, repeated changes that build and become these anchors, right? And that's how you have long lasting transformation. So, step by step, action by action, and then your body can catch up to that vision. And that's, how I healed from the 298 pounds and the injuries and trauma and grief and burnout. And even especially, and again, not to be superficial, but the skin healing. I mean, I don't know if it's okay to say this. I haven't had, skin surgery. And a lot of people don't believe me, and that's okay. And some of it's probably genetics, and some of it's because I was athletic before. But I think a lot of it is also some of the magic that Dr. Dan cooked up, So I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I just did. So it's really true, and it's noticeable. And I mean, I notice it, and I believe it's not just about what you look like. It's when
Right.
you feel that your body is strong and powerful and healthy. You feel strong and powerful and healthy, and they go together. And so that's why, to me, there's sort of like this combination of a system as well as a mindset, and that becomes essentially the trifecta of the miracle of three.
Yeah, I love you said the magic that he's concocted. There is some magic in here, or so it feels when you get on the products. But that was really beautifully expressed the way that you shared that. It's hard sometimes to articulate watching a transformation and even your own personal transformation, what it really is doing. But definitely we are, spiritual beings having a human experience. We're living in this body, and so it is important to make the mind body connection. And it's huge. It has everything to do with seeing results, I think, a lot of times. Sometimes, there are some people who are just, they're done. They don't want to put the fight in, and others who are putting the fight in. Clearly, you're somebody who did that, I mean, based on your background and your experience. I do think that there is a lot of magic in here too when you talk about the skin tightening and firming and not needing, skin surgery after that much weight loss. I'm not here to make any claims either, but I do see that. I'm just going to say, I'm going to call it like it is. I do see that people feel and experience that. I know for myself and my daughters, I've got twin girls, we have this glowing skin, and people are like, what are you on? I'm like, a purple pouch. They're like, a purple pouch of what? I'm like, but it's true. The collagen, the purple pouch are such an incredible glow up system. So I know you have daughters too. How are you using the three skincare line personally and with your daughters?
Okay. I hope this is okay to say it this way because it's true.
Okay.
So they just turned 11, and about a year ago started a little bit with a little bit of like acne here. And, like everything, they're starting a little bit like, can we wear lipstick? And, that stuff is starting. And so, admittedly, I don't give them like Chanel and Givenchy lipstick. Like, I give them Elf and Ulta and whatever, because of their age. So now I have these products, and they heard me talking about it. They saw it with some of my girlfriends, and they were like, Mommy, can we use that? And I was like, I don't know. It's very fancy stuff. So at first I said no.
I get it. I get it.
Um, but
I
you wanted real, so I'm being honest. So I said no, and then I was like, well, okay. I think, and then I noticed the pimples, and I said, you know what? And because I got them other like Neutrogena, whatever, and I was like, you know what am I doing? And the other thing is, by the way, if anyone else has children, they know, like you get them shampoo at like, I don't know how much a bottle, even if it's Suave or if it's whatever, they like take a pound of it every shampoo. And you're like, how are we out of shampoo? So that's what I was imagining they would do with it. So I was like, this is very, very expensive. This is mommy's very, very special face stuff from mommy's, company and everything. And they were like, okay, okay. And it's really cute because they even said they keep it in the boxes. They were like treating it. I'm like, well, it's not caviar, but the reality is because I like said that this was special and it's a system and we like watched a little video, they got very proud and they were really happy to try it. And honestly, within like 3 to 4 days, I was like, oh my gosh, because obviously they're at a different place in their skin than I am. And, at this time, I was also having phone calls from some of my girlfriends and folks who were saying, like, oh, my redness is going and all the things that we're not claiming, but we're just remarking that people were noticing. And I noticed it in my daughters immediately. And I will say now I mean, again, it's not been that many months. I think we're at month 4 or 5. Um, and their skin is incredible. And do we try and have good hygiene habits and everything? Of course we do, but they're growing kids and there's puberty time and all that kind of stuff. And it's incredible. I have older children, and then I had an older son also ask about, because they had an argument between them, I guess, when he was visiting from college about, no, that's the cream. You can't touch that one. And so then he asked about it. So I basically, like I said, it's been slowly converting everyone in the family to the entire line of the Visage.
Yeah, I feel you on that. This is a luxury line of products, girls. I said the same. My, twins are 19 now, but even then I had them on Smart Ship, so they would get repeat orders of the skincare and the Eternal. And they're calling me like, Mom, I'm already out. I'm like, what? It's only 2 weeks? What's going on? And all the sorority sisters are using the products. And I'm like, okay, you know what? No, this is not like that, but it was hard. But I did get, a few, moms who were like, okay, my daughter says I need to purchase this because, and it is true, it does help with all of the skincare and yes, a little bit of the acne. And no, we are very much a luxury line of products. I tell people that all the time. Like, we are not something you're going to find on Amazon or eBay or something, like we are a boutique luxury line of products. And it's the science behind it. And I always tell them good things are seldom cheap and cheap things are seldom good, and they should be treated as such, And so I'm glad that you expressed that. I also love how you engage them by like sharing the tools, sharing the videos so they could see like why this is unique. Even at 11 years old, they're like, oh, I get it. So
Oh
that's
yeah, I make them watch everything. They know everything about Dr. Dan. They were like, "Well, can we come to Indonesia?" And I'm like, "Okay, well now it's a little much." But because this is my work too, right? Now this is my mission too with you, right? To tell people about this in an authentic way.
Mhm. Well, you're doing such an incredible job. And honestly, I'm really excited that you have two people from your team that are on here tonight to actually share their own personal story. And really, we're one big team. We have a wonderful, beautiful friend of mine on here as well. And so I would love for our friends to pop on so we can hear more about their stories. So welcome, Nick Geatches, Sharon Davis, and Mike Dowd. If you guys want to join us, we're having a little online party now. Natanya and I have been having an online party. But I'm excited to share. So, Nick, I would love for you to kind of get started. First of all, when I first
Sure.
saw you, I said you have incredible hair, but I want to
Thank
hear
you.
a little bit more about your story. What happened when you said yes to three?
Yeah. It's I've been on a bit of a wellness journey these last few years. I'd gotten all the way up to 335 pounds, had a bunch of bad habits, chemical dependencies, the whole nine. And so I've been incrementally adding things to how I meal prep, to what I cook, the supplements I take. And what was really wild is a lot of these supplements that are out there, it's like you're retaining like 18% of them, which is just like wild. So I've been seeing a lot about collagen and how it helps with muscle growth and skin, hair. I had always had problems with like joints and like lower back, shoulder. I was even taking peptides and putting like BPC in the shoulders and that. It would help, but it still was a little raw. Like, it's been an issue that I've always dealt with. And what's been so cool is like I started taking the collagen, and the first thing I noticed, one, is that like lifting, like muscle growth, um, everything got a little bit tighter. I even went, and I'm a pretty pasty guy. I'm a pretty pasty guy, and I live in South Florida, and I was out in the sun a little bit too long, and I came back and I was looking at myself. I'm like, this, I'm going to be hurting tomorrow. And it was the last day of the 10-day collagen set. And
Mhm.
I like woke up the next day, wasn't peeling, no issues. It was crazy. I've never experienced, like, I'm like, when my skin gets raw, it's gone. So that was super cool. And then with the Revive, um, I haven't had any pain in any of the spots where I normally do. Like,
Wow.
like I used to not even be able to do workouts above my head with my shoulders, and now that's like three-quarters of what I lift. So it's been really cool, and I've really love the products, and people are super interested to learn about them. So been a lot of fun.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Dr. Natanya, what do you think about that story? Why do you think the collagen's working so well?
Well, I I like so I asked Mike and Nick because I thought they might not be your typical testimonial people. And I wanted to show like a range of kinds of people who are different ages, genders, that kind of stuff. Nick is young. Nick is representing the youth. No, I'm kidding. But um, you know, because it's real, because we gave it to him and he's like, I think this is awesome. And that's really why. And I think that we're talking about cellular repair and cellular turnover and ultimately this safety net that is being built, deep under the dermal layer. And yeah, things like sunburn would be better protected from them. So absolutely, I'm just excited that he's really seeing the benefits.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much, Nick. And then all the way from New Hampshire, we have my beautiful friend Sharon Davies. I'm so excited for you to share a little bit about your background and why you said yes to 3 and kind of what happened.
Okay, so I've always been interested in health and wellness my whole life. But after 25 years in the wellness industry as a licensed massage therapist, I've seen a lot and I've tried a lot. So I was first introduced to 3 International. I was pretty reluctant at first. Um, I had tried all the platforms before, and I wasn't really looking for anything else. But after hearing about the product over and over again from my dear friend Carrie, I finally decided to give Vitality a try. And that's pretty much where everything changed. So for over the past 10 years since, I guess, post-menopause, I had battled with severe digestive issues. And every time I ate something, I either experienced reflux or stomach pain. So eventually, over the past couple of years, it started to affect my vagus nerve. And it was triggering chest pains and radiating up into my shoulder and up into the base of my skull. And it caused me to have sleepless nights because it would go on for hours and hours. And so I was pretty much scared to eat anything at that point. And I was getting ready to go back to the gastroenterologist and have them put me back on the medications that I did not want to go on. And so I decided to try the Vitality. And within days of starting it, my symptoms began to ease. And truly, it's been a miracle because for the first time in 10 years, I'm not afraid to eat. And my bloating has gone down. I mean, it's truly been a miracle. And it was so immediate and so life-changing that I decided to sign up as a brand ambassador and become a founding member within a week or two of starting on the Vitality. So since then, I've been taking all of the products faithfully for the past 14 months, and I absolutely cannot be without them. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready for a procedure where they told me I had to stop taking everything I'm doing for about a week, and I'm noticing my symptoms coming back. So, so in the past the first 5 or 6 months of it, I lost 12 pounds in 2 pant sizes, and I wasn't trying to do that. It just naturally happened. But I don't know where it came from, but it did, and I'm grateful for it. But more than the physical transformation is the quality of life that's been restored to me. And so last year I attended the convention at Salt Lake City, where the new skincare line was launched, the serum. And I started using it immediately when we were able to buy it. And right at the beginning of what became one of the most stressful times in my life, the serum helped me sleep better and worry less. And these things I never expected to happen from a skincare line. So now I'm using the full skincare line, and my face is so much brighter and more hydrated and more youthful than it has looked in years. And I'm really excited about that because I've tried several and this is amazing. So I'm incredibly grateful for the company and their products and this platform. The community is unlike anything I've ever been a part of. It's genuine and supportive and inspiring. And the compensation plan, well, it's top notch. And I've done this kind of work before, but never with this integrity and heart. So I'm excited to get to Salt Lake City again at the end of the month and walk the stage as a 3-star and to continue growing with the amazing company. And the future is bright. And I'm thankful to be on this journey with all of you. So,
Oh, Sharon, that was so beautiful and so genuine and so heartfelt. And I loved what you shared. I mean, I am super impressed with the skincare line, helping you sleep better in that way at a very stressful time of your life. Amazing. I mean, Dr. Natanya, what do you think about that? I mean, as somebody who understands brain connection so well.
One of the things that blew my mind, and it happened to be the day was, I'll never forget the day. It was right before Valentine's Day. It was February 12th when I actually was interviewing Dr. Dan, and he had a presentation that day and shared the study from Lower Hutt right then at the inclusion in the physician's digital reference of the first neuro cosmetic. And what that means, like people are like, what does that even mean? Neurocosmetic? And how, when he submitted this to the PDR, the physician's digital reference, the study, the data that said that this serum that you put on your face, I'm just breaking it down for anyone who's not clinical, right? That it literally sends a signal, the magical signals to your brain. And those signals to your brain have to do with sleep and mood regulation. So apparently Dan had said that when he submitted the data, they said, "Do you know that you're submitting to a medical journal?" Like they basically thought he might have made a mistake. Dr. Dan doesn't make a mistake, because they're like, this is a lotion and this is a vitamin guide, like, what are you doing? And he's like, no, look at the data kind of thing. I'm oversimplifying. It didn't quite happen like that. So forgive me, Dr. Dan. But just meaning for the lay people at home, it's a surprising thing because it's not heard of. And certainly in the nutraceutical world, these are not typical things. You're not included in the PDR. You cannot buy your way in. You have to have the data. There's no other company in the entire US that we're aware of that has all of their products in this, that of this rigor. That means don't just take our word for it, folks. The data says that the structure of the serum is in such a way at a cellular level that it communicates with the structure of your brain that sends out information or codes for things like signaling for serotonin or melatonin. You might have people take melatonin for sleep. So it starts to make signaling in the brain for chemicals that will help you sleep and potentially help with mood. So, or at least they are involved in those things that we measure for mood and sleep. Sorry, to be really careful. They don't. So, but meaning it's real. You put the cream on and you have feelings. So that blew my mind, even though I already knew about it. I still just like having that. So thank you for talking about all of that, Sharon. My version was really dry, but really it is incredible. I encourage everyone to at least try it because you'll thank me later, or Adrianne as well, of course.
Love it. I love it. No, I'm so glad that you went a little deeper into the science of that because it is hard to touch on. I usually send a video because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's intense. But that is why you had that result, Sharon. And that's why a lot of people have that result. And so, Dr. Natanya, you broke that down beautifully. So thank you. And thank you, Sharon, for sharing that. Okay, last but not least is our amazing friend in a beautiful pink coat, Mr. Mike Dowd, all the way from New York. Mike has a whole documentary written about him. We don't actually have enough time just for Mike. Mike has his own show, but I do want Mike to share with us a little bit about his 3 experience and kind of what happened to you, Mike. So go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, so hello, thank you. We'll start off with, I have no idea what this stuff is, okay? So that's honest. Although I've learned a bit just listening here and by hanging around with Natanya there for the last 6 months or so. She's about how she can't promise me anything, but at the same time, please take it. So I accidentally started taking this probably. So when I say this, I'm talking the 5-pack, okay? The 5-pack, hello, right? So I started taking this, I'm going to go about 90 days ago. And I would say within about 30 days, and by the way, I wasn't taking it. I was taking it because I was annoyed by Natanya. I said, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this because Natanya keeps talking about it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take it. I'm 64 years old, okay? And I've been around the block and I've taken things that I shouldn't have taken all my life. Okay. And in this case, I'm being told you should take this. And then she told me about her experience that she went through and something significant that I'm not going to mention because she didn't mention it from what I listened. So I'm not going to mention it. But she said after 17 or 18 days of this, something happened to her and she was basically cured of what she was dealing with. So of course, I think it's all poppycock. And I go, sure. And that, butterflies and rainbows and whatever, you weren't in prison with me, whatever. The point is this. I'm open to try anything, okay? Because if anything can change a guy like me, I'm willing to try it. So I did. And I for the last 15 years or so, couldn't sleep at night. I'd have to rub my hands. I mean, I'm doing it now. I'm showing you. I would have to rub my hands for a good half an hour and then be woken up by the pains in my hands. And whoopie doopie dooey, you're a man, but it hurts. And I couldn't sleep and it would wake me. And I noticed that after about, and I'm just saying 30 days, only because I noticed I wasn't doing it anymore. And I just put it aside and kept taking it though. And then Natanya had asked me something about this Utah program she's going on. And what I said, what for? And she said, that product that I gave you that's probably sitting in the back seat of your car? I go, yeah. She goes, well, we're having a convention. And I said, excuse me? It hasn't been sitting in the back seat of my car. I've been taking it every day. And she was like, really? I go, really? Of course if I said I did it. So I hadn't had any. Now, when I tell you, I used to do 100 push-ups at a clip. I couldn't do one. Now, I'm not going to tell you I can do one today. But what I'm going to tell you is I wouldn't attempt one because the pain in my wrists was so bad. And today, I wake up every day, and I'm not going to say there's no pain, but it's not the first thing I think about anymore. Which is an indication to me that it has greatly been mitigated. And in fact, it has been greatly mitigated. So I'm going to leave you with that note that the pain in my wrists and knees have been significantly mitigated. And I don't know that it's because of this magical pills and stuff or the formula that I've been drinking. And I've been putting in my strawberry. I like a strawberry smoothie like almost every day. And I've been mixing the Vitamix with the liquid stuff in it. I've been what's it called?
He's taking it now. Yeah.
That's
purple.
Stuff. Whatever she said, I've been taking it, and I listen. And
you were talking about your gut too. You were talking about your
yes, you're right. And I had a lot of gut issues going on, and if I said it was miraculously cured, I would say now I'm BSing. But what I'm going to tell you is there's been a significant difference in the last 90 days. Huge difference, making my life much more, let's just say, easier to live.
Wow.
It's so much easier that I'm back work.
He's like, can
so
I
much easier
too? So he's coming to Utah now as well.
So much easier that I'm starting to actually work again. And I have been off the work shelf, and Natanya knows, for several years because I've been doing a lot of podcasting and BSing. But I've been doing a lot of podcasting, and now I'm actually doing some physical labor, which is rewarding, and I enjoy it. So.
Mike, you are a treat, my friend. That was a lot of fun. I'm so glad that the products are working for you. I'm really grateful that Natanya introduced them to you and that they weren't just sitting in the back of your car, that you were using them. I think that's amazing. I cannot wait to meet you in person in Salt Lake City. I'm thrilled.
Thank you. I can't wait to be there. That's great. I'm excited.
Wonderful.
Do you guys mind if I go eat? I haven't eaten since it's 8:30 this morning.
You're allowed to leave, and when I tell you to leave, okay? No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm scared.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared, Mike. This is only live in front of a couple hundred people. It's fine.
Okay, great.
Shared with thousands, but
that's
cool.
Nothing.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, but I just want to thank you so much for your time, and really everybody. And yes, we are closing out this call, and not just because Mike needs to go eat, but because we've had a beautiful discussion tonight, my friends. And I really just want to thank you so much, Dr. Natanya, for really just sharing your brilliance and your heart with us tonight, and really your insight into integrative medicine, behavioral science, and the difference between cellular wellness. And it really just reminds us that true health is both science and and an inside journey, a soul journey. And so your work with 3 International and the New Solutions Network is truly changing lives. I know that. I'm watching it. I'm so grateful to be partnered with you, and we're honored to have you here. And so to our incredible guest speakers, Mike and Sharon and Nick, thank you guys for lending your voices and your stories and really your passion, as each of you has inspired us tonight and empowered us to kind of think bigger and maybe care a little bit deeper, because 3 really is a gift. It's a gift, right? When we go out and we share it with other people, it's a beautiful way to help people, have better results in their life and use products that actually work, right? We help minimize, clutter and maximize delivery. And that's really what the magic of Dr. Dan's products are. And so to all of you who are listening in tonight, maybe it's your first time and you're just a guest, right? And somebody invited you on here, and this is really just the beginning. And you're like, oh my gosh, what did I just witness, right? Something pretty miraculous. And so if something you heard really sparked your curiosity or lit a fire in you or made you wonder what's possible, don't let that fade. Please get back to the person that invited you onto this call. They really care about you, and they saw enough in you to bring you here tonight. And that means something. And so opportunities like this, they don't come around every day. Let's really keep this conversation going. Make sure you get back to them. Let them know, like, hey, I resonated with that story. What product should I start with? Ask deeper questions. They can send you links from their app super quickly and help you get started, open your own account. It's only $30 for the whole year. So it's $30. You can order in as much or as little as you like. And we just can't wait for you to put the products in your body, because we know that that's really what it's about. People always say, how do the products work? I'm like, you put them in your body and you have a result. Really, that's the end all be all there. But thanks again, everyone. And you guys all have just a beautiful night. And I can't wait for the next Wellness Wednesday. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.